Welcome, welcome, welcome. Get
Good recovery, though.
things
Hey.
underway.
Can you hear me?
You can't hear yourself.
Yes.
I can hear you.
I can. No.
We're not going to do this in silence tonight either. I say,
just-
you know what?
Just F the police.
F the police. Well, no, I don't mean that. That's of course not what I mean.
Don't get us red flagged or
No,
anything. 'cause somebody picks
the
up on
internet
the,
police that.
The copyright police.
Yes.
I mean, come on,
Yeah.
man. We're not. We ain't trying to hurt nobody.
Let's get something started up here. Who do we have on so far? Got a couple folks out there. What are we gonna go with tonight? Let's see. Let's go a little 90s. Why not?
It's a good decade.
Ooh, fitting music.
It's very faint.
Oh, local boy Dave Grohl.
WCAC's finest.
WCAC's finest. Thank you so much for being with us tonight. On behalf of First Amendment Sports, I'm Ken Marangolo. This is Thank God It's Tuesday. Please hit the subscription link. It is free. I mean, who knows how long that'll last, but it's free. We'd love to bring you guys a weekly show from the basement. Hit the like button if and only if we do something that you like. Hopefully we'll get there at some point before the night's over. And hang out with us for a little while. This guy here is Kevin Ricca.
I would like to apologize for my percentage of us not being on last week. We hate missing a Tuesday, and we missed a Tuesday. So, sorry, guys. You guys make my week. I love Tuesday. I love hanging out with all of us. I feel like we've got a little squad going on here on the board and back here in the basement, and with whatever's going on hanging over that chair right there. It just seems like a good team.
Thank God the
and,
camera's going
thank
this
God.
way.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
all I'm
Trust
saying.
me.
Holy moly. That's parts
Trust
of
me.
Rhett you don't want to see.
He's Tim Strachan.
The cankles.
Well, that I need to apologize even more. I've missed 4 weeks.
Yeah, but yours is less of an apology.
What are we doing here, guys?
I
We're
know,
apologizing.
I know, but
The
I'm
apologizing
I'm
show?
apologizing.
The apology.
There's a
I'm
lot
so
to apologize.
sorry.
But here's the thing:
We
I,
have so
I
many
had
of
to go.
those.
I had to go do some girl dad stuff and some family stuff, and I appreciate you guys let me, do that. And I'm so glad to be back. But I did a lot of reflection, did a lot of thinking about the team, and wanted to really come here tonight with some really good stuff. And
Hopefully you came.
the conclusion is we suck. So.
All right, well, let's not conclude anything yet.
That's a good
Let's
start.
just
That's a
start.
good
Well, that's
T-Bird.
4 weeks worth of
We're halfway
deep-
there.
deep analysis that I've come.
All right, so we'll get you. You can lean up and do the heavy lean, but go ahead and get relaxed.
I know, I'm a heavy leaner.
That's all right. That way, T and I can conclude
I don't-
stuff.
I don't
He
need
can
to see you.
conclude stuff.
I don't.
Well, listen, as we say in the title of the show and on Hawks Haven tonight, we spent plenty of time on the off-the-field stuff. We won't stop doing that. We won't ignore it. But as it turns out, we have quite a situation going on the field. And, at some point in time, you got to talk about all of it. So going to live on the field a little bit more tonight than in recent shows, for better or for worse. Maybe if the board takes us in a different direction. I feel like I got to reschedule our monthly apology show. We pretty much covered it now.
No, F our monthly apology show. Let's live a little.
We're keeping our monthly
We're gonna
apology
live,
show
we're gonna
on
live
the
a little.
books.
We're gonna live a little.
I apologize.
I apologize for nothing.
Because the people who are watching right now and on the board are very, they're close.
Yes.
They're like family.
They had-
and you apologize when
Innocent.
you're
Understood.
absent from family. That's all.
I love it. But I got a lot to apologize
missed you
for.
guys.
It's going to be a
Sorry.
long show. I mean, we missed you too, T.
Hey, thanks, man.
Now it's an I miss you scenario.
Oh God! Are
God.
you kidding me?
Oh, God.
Well, we're
It's
drinking.
holiday season.
We're
It's
drinking
getting
Brothers Bond.
emotional.
The Brothers Bond bourbon
Anxiety
is coming through.
Tuesday.
EO Brothers Bond
See what
straight
happens?
bourbon whiskey. It's very good. A present from one Joe
None of you
Marangolo.
cry, okay? Don't cry.
Promised you. Don't you do it to me, Roy. Don't you do it, Roy. All right, so again, there's no shortage of fertile content on the field. We're 2-6. We just got through the bye. Bucks are coming to town. They're not bad.
Who?
And everything that I wouldn't say everything. pretty much 99% of everything we hoped and wished for in August and kind of hung our hats on. Our hat is falling straight on the floor right now. Everything, there's nothing to hang anything on at this point in terms of what we were hoping for, what we thought was going to be the case. That's just a fact. The things that had to go well for us to not be 2-6 did not go well. The places where we thought we were going to be strong, we haven't been strong, and but here's where I want to start, and I don't want to make this a blaming player situation either. But I do know that there's some players that have disappointed. And we will go through some of the offseason moves before the end of the show, or the list of acquisitions because it hasn't worked through 8 games. But what I was going to kind of get started here with you guys is this. I, along with the two of you, are just crazy in love with Ron Rivera as our head coach and as the guy who's going to get the job done ultimately. But I think it's a fair conversation to look at the whole of the moves that have been made in the last 4, 5, 6 months, and grade them. He's not gonna get A+ all over the board. You know what? I hope he's here for 5 years, and at the end of 5 years, if we say this was a bad year for Ron Rivera, that's okay. But to date, I would like to open the floor up, especially to people on the board. This isn't Ron Rivera bashing hour, but I think trust me, he can take it. It hasn't all panned out for him this season. Anybody?
Been a real tough year for Ron.
Yeah.
I believe in Ron.
Why?
I want him to be here. After last year's momentum heading into this year, I'm not talking about the media. I'm talking about us. We saw rosters as athletic as a 2 deep has been since we've started doing this, and we were psyched about it. And a bunch of guys that are leaders coming back. Culture had been changed a tad bit, at least on the 53 and in the coaching staff, which is what he's in control of and not the front office. So, and Ron didn't realize that he bit off a tad bit more than he could chew, and neither did any of us based on what was happening around the field. But tonight's about on the field. And on the field this year, we have disappointed greatly for various reasons, none of which I believe are fireable offenses or anything like that.
No.
I believe in this guy. I thought this year would be the year to step forward, and I didn't realize this would be year 2 of a rebuild. That's how it feels.
I doubted him once last year, and I ate crow on that. I'm not going to do it again. I'm not saying he can't do no wrong. Obviously, this year hasn't gone the way that he wants it to, but he's not out there playing. I mean, he's doing everything he can. We doubted him around this time last year, and then things just got weird. But when we do look back, and again, maybe I should, as long as we're apologizing, I'll apologize to Ken. Since I made a big deal about rebuild, build, whatever. I still think he's doing all the right things. I still think he's making all the right moves, and we want, as a society, much less Washington football team fans, we want the results right now.
Now.
It's not happening. It's painful. But I still think he's got everything in the right direction.
Let's talk about individual moves, some of the individual moves he make. And let's just start with the one that we all stood on our chairs for, hoped it would happen. It did. We signed Curtis Samuel to a 3-year deal, perfect marriage between player and system, young, athletic, multiple, everything you could ask for for a team that was on the rise and an offense that had the ability to do some things. Curtis Samuel, I mean, it's a gut punch for a variety of reasons. I'm sure he would prefer to be playing. Obviously, we'd love for him to be playing. He's not going back on IR, so we do expect to see him before the end of the season. But man, the board is going crazy. It's the Paul Richardson stuff. It's the Malcolm Kelly. We've always brought guys in. We've had a tendency before Ron Rivera to bring guys in who weren't able to play. He still has time to shake that, but that's where it is now.
So first of all, just to make the record straight, I've never stood on my chair for anybody.
That's true. That's
secondly,
Sheesh.
You got it.
secondly,
That was on you.
I think this is, yes, it's been disappointing. He hasn't been there. whether or not this is going to be a trend, he's one of those thoroughbreds at this level, at the professional level. If he's nicked up, he's really not good. He needs to be 100% to be effective, and he's just not. I mean, groin. I've never been fast enough to injure my groin, so I don't know what it's like. I don't know how bad it can get.
So many jokes.
It's not really a joke. It's
no,
the
but I had
truth.
so many in my head that I didn't say.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, sorry.
Anyway, yes, it hasn't worked out, but that's still a piece that I think was the right piece when it's ready, health-wise.
Let me just say this: if we were to be told that we'd be 2-6 after our bye week 9, and Curtis Samuel would have 5 targets, 4 receptions for 19 yards, and 1 rush for 8, we'd be sick to our stomach thinking that it was some ACL or Achilles or. So I think the good news here, if I'm really polishing this dirt, is that he's battling some injury that we can't figure out. T said, this is an extremely athletic man's injury, but 4 years of him in the NFL when he's playing down in Carolina, his production was through the roof for what he did for this specific offense, for this specific offensive coordinator. And let me just remind everybody who wants to say Paul Richardson, who is a skinny speed guy, if you say his name one more time, then you don't understand what you're talking about. And his final year at Ohio State, he's the only man in Ohio State history who's had over 1,000 yards rushing and 1,000 yards receiving at Ohio State. He had 97 rushes, guys, for 771 yards and 7 touchdowns. He had 74 receptions. This is his senior year at Ohio State. Sorry, junior year, his final year, his 3rd year at Ohio State. 74 receptions for 865 yards and 8 touchdowns. This is a guy who played at the highest of levels, who's been as physical as possible, who played running back in the Big Ten. Paul Richardson could have never taken one hand off in the Big Ten. Get off it, Redskin fans. Get off it, Washington football team fans. Knock it off. This stinks. It's garbage. It sucks. It's an injury. We have a bunch of freaking pre-med guys on the board. How do you possibly take that? Yes, it sucks. I hate it. But this dude's a beast, and this dude was perfect for our offense specifically, and it didn't work out. It sucks. We got to be tougher about this. You can't start calling a guy like that Paul Richardson. This is a Brooklyn cat. This dude's born and raised in Brooklyn. He's one of the toughest dudes that played at Ohio State at his position. When he gets right and he gets ready,
I know.
And you're someone that said Paul Richardson, I will remember you. I'm not talking
agree.
about the board. I'm talking
know.
about my friends.
Yeah,
the people that keep saying it to me. He's just like Paul Richardson.
Oh,
you were on Twitter today, bro? You were on Twitter today?
Unfortunately, the thing about Curtis Samuel is that he hasn't played.
It sucks.
So
I hate it.
We're going to say the same thing over and over and over again because we know what the player he is. But unfortunately, to date, he's yet another. And it sucks, too, because it's not like we've been hitting home runs with wide receiver acquisitions in our recent history. So, yeah, Curtis Samuel is going to be completely painted with the same brushstroke as all those guys who came in and didn't do crap. I mean, we're talking about a distinguished
That's
list.
irresponsible fanship.
I know, but
the truth of the matter is,
that's reality.
We brought a guy in for a buttload for 3 years who has 5 targets, 4 receptions, and 1 rush. But no one's saying anything about Ryan Fitzpatrick, who's 3 for 6 for 13 yards, 1 rush for 2 yards, and 1 sack, 1 devastating sack.
Yep. Right. But so the Ryan Fitzpatrick, I would say, from an acquisition standpoint, Ryan Fitzpatrick was our quarterback solution.
I get it.
We didn't make. So this.
Mine was the combo. Ken, I don't want to send it the wrong way.
But the Ryan Fitzpatrick issue is another separate issue. It's less to do with Ryan Fitzpatrick, and it's more to do with organizational, route running, so to speak. We decided that we weren't going to invest heavy resources at the quarterback position this past offseason. We didn't do it in the draft. We didn't do it in free agency. So you're going to have to live and die with what you do have. We went with a Heineke Fitzpatrick route for 1 season. It was cheap. We built a lot around that, and we kicked the can on the quarterback decision. Now that decision has to be made. I was happy when we didn't allocate resources to quarterback this past offseason because we had so many holes.
Especially now when you take a kind of a bigger look back.
These guys are going
nuts. This team was not ready. This team was not ready for.
Yeah, let's not go.
This team was not ready for Stafford. This team was not ready.
And
That's why you
Stafford didn't want to come here.
But that's
and he
why
should-
you
nor
don't.
should he have.
That's why you don't
No,
overextend yourself on something like that. It was the wrong time.
That was our dream.
right.
Yeah.
Right
It was
here.
the wrong time.
Right.
To go after somebody like that for a ridiculous amount of money. I thought it's the right decision. It hurts now. It sucks.
It hurts now.
But it still was at that time the right decision not to go after it.
Ken, I've engaged in this conversation for 2 weeks, and I'm just going to look directly into the screen and say that anybody that compares Curtis Samuel to Paul Richardson
Oh, come on.
is not having any football conversation with me ever again.
Okay,
These two,
okay.
This is one of the toughest. These two. This is a skinny guy. Listen, and I vouch for Richardson, but I'm sorry. I've had this conversation with family members. I've had this conversation with everybody for 2 weeks. Everyone keeps saying the same thing. Why does everyone have the same comp? I don't get it. Like, watch it yourself. Go ahead, check out YouTube. Google film on these two guys and tell me that they're anything like each other, and then we'll have a conversation. I'll be open-minded for now. I love this board. I can't possibly imagine that comp.
Okay,
Significant at every level, besides a bad signing by the front office because of injury. If you're going to put injury in it versus injury is one thing.
So wait, so Kev,
but he got injured. What do you want him to do?
The Curtis Samuel, the only so he's injured and he can't play. To me, I'm not worried about like him being injury prone.
So his injury makes him Paul Richardson?
No,
I don't think so.
No, I'm not making any Paul Richardson argument. I'm trying to divert us. What I'm saying about Curtis Samuel and the taste in my mouth about it is that we brought a guy in that we had high expectations for that's not playing. But if I wanted to talk about a player with the kind of potential that Curtis Samuel had, I mean, there's no real comp. But I think when I look all the way back and I was thinking about this today, obviously Devin Thomas is not Curtis Samuel, but at least in college he carried the ball for Michigan State. He was tough. He was a big body. He didn't do jack at the NFL level, and he didn't look like he was worth a fraction of the resources we spent on him, which I believe was a third rounder or something like that. But when we envisioned him playing in the pros, we envisioned him being a running back at the wide receiver spot. That was what he was billed as. It didn't happen. Curtis Samuel is at least in words. You know, you think about him as completely and totally multiple. He's actually done it at the pro level in a way that Devin Thomas never did. He just hasn't done it for us yet. But with regard to Ryan Fitzpatrick and us kicking the can on the quarterback decision, the second guessing of the kicking the can decision is happening a lot. Now, I'm okay with it because I don't know if we spend a ton of draft picks to trade up and get one of these guys, Fields or Lance or Wilson or Jones or whoever. We weren't getting Trevor Lawrence. You know, I'm not convinced we're not still 2-6 and people aren't still bitching and moaning. So I'm that, and which by the way was
without a doubt they'd be in the same position.
I'm
If
happy
we're
to
2-6,
kick the can.
everyone should bitch and moan.
Yes.
I'm not
They're
going to
going
argue
to,
with you.
yeah.
I'm not going to argue with bitching and moaning at 2-6. I'm not. That's ridiculous. But I am going to argue with anyone that thinks Curtis Samuel and Richardson have anything to do with each other.
Well,
that's troublesome to me. Because if you handed the ball to Richardson at Colorado in the Big Ten once, we never would have signed him in the NFL because he never would have made it there.
What about William Jackson, cornerback?
Yeesh.
He hasn't had a great year either. I would,
He's had some really good plays,
he's had some really good
but he's
plays.
had some really bad plays, and now he's hurt.
So
The hurt part.
the hurt part is tough, but
Listen, man. You can't control that. When you sign
No.
a guy, you can't control the injuries. It's
But
just,
he's played
for us,
poorly when he's been on the
we're
field.
we're very sensitive as Redskin football team fans to bad injuries to big signings. It just seems to our best guys always seem to get hurt for the last few years. I get it. But I mean, come on, man. Like,
but
jeez.
the
It's
William
salt to-
Jackson
it's
thing is
salt to injury. No,
is
no
you
pun
also
intended.
you put Benjamin St. Juste on the other side, another offseason acquisition via the draft. Now, hey, of all the players we're going to talk about that have added in, and like I said, this isn't a fun conversation in the sense that we're not talking about one hit after another, one home run, one awesome call after the next, because Jamin Davis is also coming up, and you want to talk about Jamin Davis and Benjamin St. Juste, two draft picks who are clearly football players, clearly can play the game, clearly haven't had a big impact in 8 weeks. St. Juste has had flashes as well. The good news for him is, man, he's getting time. I don't know. I buy into the idea that if you can still, the right guy can still materialize as a result of time and development. I think some positions you can explode. You can hit push down the lever and their career's over because you put them in too many bad spots. they're done mentally wise. They just can't
He's
handle
made
it.
too many good plays to be in that spot right now.
He's going to be okay.
He's proven to himself that he can play at this level.
I know, and I know people hate him, but he gets thrown.
He's also
tons of
targeted.
targets.
Yeah,
Oh,
he's also targeted the most.
Absolutely.
So I mean,
Yeah.
the way he has
I don't
stepped up
hate
to
him
the
at all.
plate,
I
no,
don't
not
hate him at all.
No, again, those two guys. I mean, look, I said it earlier. I doubted Ron Rivera once. I'm not going to doubt him again. He's going to pull this together, whether it's this year or not. Again, it's all headed in the same direction. Look, I said we suck. We suck right now. We suck on the field right now. But
Yep.
I don't. It's not like it's not a catastrophe.
Oh
This is
no,
not a-
no.
The catastrophe
This
is
is
the
not
bad
a- yeah,
injuries
lose your mind.
based
Yes,
on the
yes,
off
there's
season.
a lot of that.
And I
There's a
get
lot.
that. But listen, man, when we signed Curtis Samuel, he had the highest percentage of catches over 30 yards downfield last year. Now, a lot of those were short throws that he took 30. Give or take, whatever it is. Ryan Fitzpatrick, the highest percentage of throws 30 yards downfield of any quarterback in the NFL last year. That made sense to me. We wanted to spread the field. We wanted to go more north-south than east-west. Curtis Samuel was great east-west and also north-south. He's a guy that extended our offense by inches and yards all over the field, that gave us the ability to put guys in space, especially him, but also give other guys, Terry, his guy from Ohio State, the ability to not have to get double teamed every time we see someone's ass.
Yeah.
And that's what this injury cost us. And not having Ryan Fitzpatrick
Which he is,
stinks. Same thing on defense, though. You got St. Just as the boundary guy. He's a big physical stud that we're going to use in the run game that can defend against somebody on the boundary. To the field, William Jackson's speed seemed perfect.
He's also physical though. William
And
Jackson.
he's very physical.
Huge,
and I'm not
huge
sure if
physical
it's
presence.
schematic with him or what's going on or blah, blah, blah. But like T said, he's shown flashes of brilliance, and then he's had some bad plays too. But not having him out there stinks. But I understood the reasoning behind all of these signings. Injuries, man. 3 of the 4 guys we're talking about right now are out, and St. Just has missed a little time. I mean, crap. And he's a rookie, by the way. So
But St. Just is getting time.
I really like him.
That's great.
I can't wait to see I can't wait to see this staff develop.
And
guys.
Jamin Davis is getting time.
Those two need to be developed. Yes.
We don't have to talk a lot about Jamin Davis. I don't think he's been a big enough negative to harp on. He's not been a big enough positive. And to be honest with you, through the first 4 or 5 games, they hit him. Holcomb played a lot more. They brought in the extra safety. I would say this. What I want to get to I want to inject a bright spot. Again, injury twinged is the topic of this player, but I think De'Ami Brown is going to. I think he has shown me already that I think he's going to be an absolute part of this offense in his career here. I hope at least through his rookie contract, I think he has a chance to be in this league for a while. Yes, he's fast. But man, if you watch him if you just focus on him on the plays where he's been out there and he's doing, first of all, he's doing the number one thing we need, which is take a little heat off Terry McLaurin, and that's helping. And Terry McLaurin has had the hardest one-on-one battles of anyone, because he's getting the other team's best corner. He can catch. He has had a couple drops, but he can catch. He runs good routes, and he has good game speed. When he gets the ball in his hands, he looks like he's going to pop it. I think that pick was probably one of our best picks for this season.
We'll see. And when the injury, because he's certainly dynamic.
Yeah.
I just want one reminder on Jamin Davis on a positive note. When he signed his scholarship to Kentucky, he was not a 4-star or 3-star. He was a 2-star, 190-pound scrawny kid who worked himself with a military background and a drive that you can't possibly imagine into a starting player and first-team All-SEC type guy, into a badass is what it was.
And if you look at the Ron Rivera checklist he wants for a football player, he just checked every single one of them.
And he didn't show up in Kentucky week 1 all in.
Right.
I mean, pardon my... But he didn't.
No.
And this is a guy that looks up to a guy with a military background that's going to just, it's the perfect scenario for him. We never thought he was going to slide in here. We didn't. We never said this guy's going to come in here and be the until the hype started. We were like, maybe he will be. Maybe this D-line will make him. So then I think all 3 of us were guilty of what everyone else in this area is guilty of, and every other fan of this team is a diehard of thinking he could be the defensive rookie of the year based on the fact that the front 7 that we had already in place and the guys that we signed in the backfield and drafted and everything we did was going to make this defense a top. We were the number 2 defense last year. Why wouldn't we think this? We didn't lose anybody that was worth a whatever, and we put the additions in. I I'm as baffled as you guys are.
Well,
I'm
so-
just saying that Jamin Davis is going to be a stud.
He is going to be just fine. You watch him in the preseason games in the beginning of the season. He was on his heels. He's playing a little bit more on his toes. I mean, that's your eyes can tell you that. You don't need to be a 50-year football coach to be able to tell the difference between those two things. Another offseason addition that wasn't an acquisition that we have to talk about is Landon Collins. He came back and he got inserted back into the lineup at safety. We talked about it a variety of times. He wasn't working out back there. He didn't really let Cam Curl be Cam Curl, and Cam Curl is a player in this league who has to play where he has to play, which was the same spot. I thought the decision before the bye for them to kind of change Landon Collins' position, to me, I think I think it has to be talked about because that's also a big time Ron Rivera move. Think about it. I'm talking about an $80+ million player, all pro guy, Pro Bowl, top of the league in terms of reputation, and in the NFL, let's be honest, these guys live on ego and reputation, and he calls himself a safety. He wants to play safety. That's where he likes, and for that whole thing to work, hats off to Landon Collins, but hats off to Ron Rivera too. I think it'll make us better defensively, and I think it started to before the bye.
No crap. I've never been a huge Landon Collins fan, but other than the fact that he is ridiculous in the run and he makes great tackles, and Kevin, who loves him to death, way more than I do, mostly goes there and says he's the best third down stopper,
Yeah.
blah blah blah. But it's look, coverage skills.
I don't want him covering nobody.
Coverage skills are probably the second
I love
hardest
him
thing
the way
to do.
you said.
The hardest
Yes.
thing to do at the professional level behind hitting a baseball. I mean, do you know how hard coverage skill is at the NFL level? It's unbelievable. That's not a knock on Landon Collins so much as it's not his role. It shouldn't be anymore. It never should be again.
Yep.
Every time it is, it's trouble for the good guys. And I do think he's a great football player. And I did not think his coverage skills were going to be C level, and they are.
Yeah.
If we're grading this out, he's an average ass. And I don't think he's terrible like we all. He's just so average at it. And if you want to be a safety, you can't be an average.
But as far as the
guy.
decision, it's the smartest decision. You're right.
It is.
He's great in the box.
Use him for what his strengths are.
That's exactly what he is, and he's quick, and he's tough, and he's got instincts. There's a lot of field behind you in safety, and he doesn't have the ability that some of these guys have offensively to stick with them athletically.
And every
That's just
year
what it is, man.
in the NFL, coaches and organizations cater to egos and reputations somewhere. I'm not saying every team does it, but it happens. There's plenty of teams who are 2-6 that are like, what's better? Fixing a problem that we know how to fix, or just being like, you know what, F it, we're 2-6, but let's not mess with our $85 million safety. So Ron Rivera did the same thing when he cut Dwayne Haskins. He's proven that he's willing to put his foot down and go upfield. I love it. I think that
Not right before the trade deadline, though.
Not right before
It
the
kind of
trade
got weird there. We were going to make him linebacker, then we tried to trade him. Well, guess what? No one wants it.
well, actually, I think
No
he's
one's an $8 bazillion linebacker safety. Ass.
yeah.
He just
The
publicly,
money's a problem.
You just publicly admitted he can't cover, and now you want someone to take him?
Yeah.
But that star's position is actually coming in vogue. You kick that tire, but no one's paying $85 million for it, or whatever his value is. And he's one of our best 11 defenders at this point in time. So get him on the field,
But
figure out how to
use
make
him
him
right.
better. Yeah.
Use him correctly.
I agree with both of those things. I do. He is one of our best 11 defenders, and he needs to be used the proper way.
Yep.
And
it's
I had
not-
way
and
more
it's not
confidence
gonna-
in his
It's
co-
not
in his
going to be
coverage
overnight
skills.
results. It's not going to be overnight results. So, again, just another
Sure.
really frustrating part of the season.
So we don't need to spend too much additional time, I think, on defense. I know there's other moves you can talk about. When I look on the offensive side, I think Sam Cosmi also, again, dinged up, which is the nature of the game. But he belongs in the league, and he's
took
going to
some
be good for us
lumps,
for a while.
Took some lumps.
Sure. Against, like,
while he was playing,
top-notch guys.
But also showed, you don't want to mess with him either. I mean, you don't really necessarily.
He can play. He can play.
Yeah, he can
He's
play.
established himself as a bad man, as a rookie in this league,
Yeah.
who has got some warts that we got to work through. But the bad man part is way more important than the rookie figuring out the league part. We'll get to that part.
Sure.
This is a bad dude, man. I've wanted to say it for 2 weeks. Can we offensively? You brought it up. Can I just drop it on you? It's been 3 weeks.
What do you got?
Maybe some of you guys have seen this. I'm just a guy that scours this post game. You guys know I go over all the stats,
Right.
blah blah blah. I just see if something sticks out to me, and I try and find a little reason or a rhyme. But fellas, I'm just gonna tell you that in the last 3 games, red zone, red zone, red zone, red zone.
Yeah.
It's first of all, we all know it by watching it. The Green Bay announcer said Green Bay hasn't given up a button. We made them feel pretty comfortable offensively when we didn't do what we did. Ken, thank you for not, you know what you did earlier. I won't even.
Minding the stepchildren.
I'm going to get to it. In the last 3 games, in 12 quarters versus the Chiefs, the Packers, and the Broncos, we have been in the red zone a grand total of 6 times. Not only have we come away with 0 touchdowns in all 6 trips into the red zone in the last 3 weeks, we've come away with 0 points offensively in the red zone for the last 3 weeks. And that's not what's going to make you jump out of your trousers or put something in them.
I'm not jumping out of my trousers anymore.
The Chiefs, the Packers, and the Broncos are 7 for 10 in the red zone. We've been
trouser
outscored in the red zone in 3 weeks, 49-0. That's got to be some type of something. 49-0. We've been outscored in the red zone.
So it's on the board. I'll ask. I'll put
kidding
it
me?
to you. Is that play calling? Are we not play calling well enough?
Play calling. Say play calling all you want, and that's
just asking- I'm
certainly
just asking
part
if
of
it's
it.
a
No,
thing.
certainly part of it.
Where?
But
What part? Because we're not getting to the red zone.
Well,
So
no,
you
I'll
can't
tell
say,
you
you
where.
can't say red
I'll
zone
tell
play
you where.
calling because we don't have any red zone.
Because you don't
plays.
have anything to do in the red
Yeah.
zone. And I'm sorry, I'm not making excuses because this is the NFL and you better figure something out or else you got to go. So that's why I say play calling does have something to do with it.
Mm-hmm.
When they put 13 dudes on Terry McLaurin, they're going to have to figure out a way to get it to Gibson. It's Gibson, McLaurin, and Gibson. We haven't figured out how to run the ball. You know, that's tough in this football era. You don't line up on the 7-yard line and just mash it in unless you're, a more established
Derrick
offense
Henry.
than we are. Exactly. The Tennessee Titans, and that's what your name of your game is.
Yeah.
That's not the name of our game. Logan Thomas is killing us not being there. McKissick's pretty cool, but he's not really a red zone cat. Gibson's not a red zone guy. We don't have the receivers. McLaurin's not that big old target that
You can take him away from us.
Oh, we
in the
throw
red
it to
zone.
McLaurin in the red zone as often as we
Yeah.
can, and we don't care what the coverage is. And
That's
we
right.
scheme it up for that reason, but it's pathetic. Our red zone offense right now, and you guys, I'll let you guys determine why. I believe it's a little bit of everything and just part of the frustration of the year, but I'm not pointing the finger at one particular person. I'm saying that I've never seen us lose 49-0 in a red zone. This is the NFL. The red zone is all it's about. Yes, big plays are huge, but the
I
red
got
zone.
one, but I'll let you go first.
So it's a combination of a lot of things, as Kevin was saying. I think injuries and certain guys out, like a Logan Thomas, who is that's purely what the tight end.
Or Braden Sheriff.
in this day and age.
Yeah. I mean, that's what the tight end does. He's that big target guy that's supposed to be the red zone guy. So
Took my number
So
one.
there's injuries, and I don't think at any point in time have I really been like that was a terrible call. What I see is poor execution on the field with a lot of not starting guys, backup guys that aren't executing the plays the way they're supposed to be executed. You look at a good team, okay? You look at a good team, you give them the same plays, they're going to execute them a lot better than what we're seeing on the field. It's just what it is. It's not supposed to be overcomplicated. It's not because the right plays aren't being called.
I think, to me, tight end is 1A or 1B, one of those two. In the NFL today, you got to have a 6'6", 6'7" monster who can run a route and beat a linebacker and win it, like Nate Kariski style. Just throw the ball up and he gets it. But I have an interesting idea. I thought I've been thinking a lot about this. I don't think it's going to be the most popular thing I've ever said down here, but one of the
we're in
reasons,
for
one
it
of the
if it is.
short, one of the reasons why I think Taylor Heineke is an NFL quarterback. He'll be in the league forever. But one specific thing that I think holds him back from getting to be the top tier guy is I think he's a guy who knows the offensive coordinator tells him how he wants to run an offense on the day. Hey, listen, here's who I want. Get the ball to 17. Force it to him if you have to. I don't care. Get the ball upfield. Take some chances. Throw some picks. I don't care. Take some hits. Buy your receivers time. But I think when you put a guy like him in shorter field positions, I think where he's been good for us, in my mind, anyways, in the red zone or around it, has been when plays have broken down. He's a scrappy backyard guy who can find a play if you let him, and he can do that, and that's why he belongs in the league. That's one of the reasons why he belongs in the league. But I think in the NFL, it's so precise and so the execution in around the end zone. Sometimes you have to make a decision before you make the decision. You have to throw a ball to a spot that doesn't even exist in reality. And I know he's capable of it, but he's not wired that way at this point in time. Yeah. And it's again, it's also an evolution of an offense. The best red zone quarterbacks, the best red zone offenses have the most stable offensive lines and quarterbacks who've been around for a while, and that's just it.
And weaponry down there and all
yeah,
that.
Of course.
Listen, you're right. You're not incorrect that he has not been good in the red zone because he's been their starting quarterback for those 3 games, where we are 0 for 6 with no points. But how about no field goals? Like what? I mean,
that's a different story.
I mean,
We signed a kicker.
0 points, guys. 0
Wait,
points.
do we have that's what we need Matt Zeal to do, the buzzer beater, because I guess got to take a quick
Do the kicker
a
thing.
happy
Let's go.
dance,
Let's get
a
on
happy
with this.
dance.
I just wanted that to be known because
Oh,
I've
yeah.
been carrying
The
that
field
with me for 2 weeks. I haven't. I'm so
I gave up
horrified
jumping,
by that
the way,
stat.
and dancing.
And dancing.
Happy dancing.
Hopkins, game winner for the Chargers.
What do you mean you gave
Everyone
up
saw
happy
that.
dancing?
Well, actually, that's not true.
It was
Yeah.
dusty time for the
Jumping,
for LA.
jumping's fine. Happy dancing, rude.
Signing a quarterback
That's true.
who couldn't
Sorry,
kick
I
the
was
ball over the
overextending
line of
myself.
scrimmage. As it turns out,
Oh gosh.
not the wisest decision in
Oh,
the world.
gosh.
After telling us they were going to stick with this guy, hey, we're gonna keep going with this guy who has. I mean, it's a huge smile on my face. It's comical. It is comical how we got to this point with the kicker. Not because I love Dustin Hopkins, because I don't think he should have been on the team after the 2016 game in London. I said that before, but as soon as the guy starts kicking it into the backs of linemen on a regular basis during games, and getting like a record amount of blocks, I mean. Okay, he's got to go. So we got a new guy, Joey Sly.
Can I just say one thing?
Yeah, please.
What a great name change
of
in
course.
the kicker position for us. I mean, just the obvious stands out. Joey Sly.
sneak it in,
Joey
sneak it in.
Sly. Chris Blewett. Joey Sly. Like, come on, man. Of
Just-
course.
you-
That's all I wanted. I didn't mean to interrupt you.
No,
but
no.
it's just-
The
that's
kicker
what stood
thing
out to me.
It's amazing that again, organizationally, especially with our team on bye. I mean, I watch all the games anyways. Games just come down to kickers, more than they should, more than you'd like, more than football purists, want to ever actually deal with. But they do. It comes down to kickers. It came down to kicker last night. Came down to kicker in the LA game. Came down to kicker in the Baltimore game. And it comes down to kickers, everybody. And ours have sucked out loud.
But if it comes down to kickers fist fighting for overtime, we got a guy.
I'm taking our
this
guy.
Dude's. Have you seen this
He's
dude?
jacked.
He looks like a freaking linebacker. He's a beefcake.
I don't know if this problem's ever going to get solved. I don't know if we got to draft a guy. By the way, the next time we draft a kicker, by the way, everyone's going to go crazy. I understand. That's a fact.
Well, I don't ever want to draft a kicker.
I understand.
But I will say this. How about Joey Sly and Chris Blewett both went to public high school in Virginia.
Yes.
Both kicked in the ACC.
Correct.
Undrafted. It was back-to-back years, so it wasn't the same exact year. But I think Joey Sly was third team in the ACC one year, but there wasn't a lot of awards being given to these two guys in the league. But I will also say this. Blewett had 0 experience, and that was a little weird. Joey Sly is somebody that Ron Rivera really enjoys because Ron Rivera has sent Joey Sly out on the field for a 65-yard field goal to end the game that missed by inches. And 2 weeks later, for a 67-yard field goal. Ron Rivera sent him out there. The guy's got a rocket leg. So Blewett had 0 NFL experience.
0.
We got 65 out of 81 at 80% out of Joey Sly. In 2019, he was the NFC Special Teams Player of the Week 4.
Hey, give that a like, everybody.
Dude, he's got 158 touchbacks. He's got an NFL kick of 56 yards. I know, but I like this dude.
Yeah,
because here's why we didn't sign him. The first thing I thought was, why would we sign Blewett?
I'd like him too if I spent that much
Well,
time
Joey Sly was still on the San Francisco roster when they were still waiting for their guy to come back. So when we signed Blewett, he wasn't available. And obviously Rivera has the utmost confidence in the dude he sent out on the field.
He pines for dudes. He's like, I really want that guy. If I can't get him out,
I don't know if you guys remember the Carolina game when he sent him out for the six. It was the end of the game, and I remember what it was.
I do remember. I was watching it.
It was inches away from a 65-yarder, 67-yarder, not so much. But the fact that the head coach in the NFL, a guy like Ron Rivera, be like, you know what, our best chance to win is if Joey Sly can kick a 65 or a 67-yarder. He's had 2 decisions. Both times he sent him out there.
Yep.
158 touchbacks. The dude kicked for a year and a half, man. This dude is a monster-looking cat with a monster leg, and I appreciate the hell out of the fact that Ron Rivera gives enough of a crap about him to send him out there for a 65-yarder.
And our drives
for a
terminate.
game winner.
Our drives terminate within
Oh, we're
field goal
looking
range.
for them points. Those yards are becoming very, very crucial.
Yes, they are. All right, so kicker situation is solved for.
Well,
I don't know.
no.
Who knows?
How about this?
I have no
this?
idea.
How about this? We'd have felt
It's
way
different.
better about Joey Sly than Chris Blewett after the Dustin Hopkins scenario, as Dustin Hopkins is holding the game ball in the Chargers locker room over the weekend for kicking the game.
That
winner,
was inevitable. No matter if we would have cut him 4 years ago, like we should have, he was still going to stay in the league. He can play in this league. I just feel like kicker is like something you can wash your hands of pretty easily, and we had a lot of. I mean, the stink of kicker badness has been on us so much over the last 20 years. Dustin Hopkins.
It hasn't even mattered, to be fair.
It hasn't mattered. That's a fair thing. Also,
I'm not sitting here saying it
I mean,
has, except for Dustin Hopkins and the tie.
Graham
in
Gano,
London.
for God's sake, is destroying the league right now from the kicker spot. I mean, But by the way, I want to know if other NFL fans, because there's so much of what we go through.
I think every NFL fan feels this way.
But the kicker thing?
No,
kicker thing?
I can't say specifically.
I
for
think
the
a
kicker
lot of it,
position.
yes. But the kicker thing might just be us.
I don't know.
Because think about it. Teams are so quick to try a new kicker. Or a guy off the street. There's a
But
million
then
of them.
you got Baltimore, who's had like 2.
I know, that's what I'm saying. Like, think about it. David Akers for Philly, Sweejum,
we gave everyone David Akers got his start
Hopkins.
from us. All these kickers,
We had
we
Mosley.
gave them all their
a lot
lives.
of kickers.
We had Mosley.
We did have Mosley.
The only MVP in the history.
Yeah,
The
we did have
only
Mosley.
Come on,
NFL
board. Give me some more
MVP.
kickers that we lost that have gone on to
Maybe
play
we're
well.
we're coming
Oh,
around
hold
on our turn
Nick,
here.
Nick the Kick? What are we talking about here?
Nick
most
Novak?
the most local guy.
Novak?
Yeah,
I think
Novak.
he's our best kicker. And if you name,
Well, we
even
said
the
goodbye
last,
to him
We always say
quickly.
goodbye. We rub you on the head. Get on out there and make
If
something
you
of
named,
yourself.
if you named
Good
the
for
last,
you.
It's like the
you
Dave
know,
Chappelle, Monica
We're going to go
Lewinsky
with this
bit.
guy who can't get it over the line of scrimmage. But
Good
you know
luck
what?
out there.
I
we're
bet
gonna,
Nick could still kick better than any of these dudes.
Sure, a lot of them could. All right, we've spent a lot of time on kickers, so that's good.
Yes.
Uh,
Well, that's the most time I've ever spent on
yes.
kicking.
All right, so I think we've covered a lot of the
Without a
badness.
doubt.
I think there's definitely some
My
other
head almost
acquisitions that
He
you know
was a
you could
beefcake. I wanted
argue
to check him out.
weren't necessarily home runs either. I just don't know that there's any home runs. I told you what I thought my bet I thought De'Ami Brown. I thought the change for Landon Collins, which happened mid-season. I like that St. Juice and Davis are getting time on a season that it's not a throwaway season. None of them are. But I look at this long term. I want Ron around. Here's what I want to ask you guys. We talked about Scott Turner and play calling and whether that's a thing or not. We're going to give him the whole season to find out. Where are we at on Jack Del Rio? Generally, not like, extreme sides of, he must stay or he must go, but just where are we at on JDR? Period. Period. Because he's a defensive coordinator. But before you guys answer, since I want you guys. It sounds like there's some thought going on. I will say this one thing. In addition to being a former linebacker, defensive-minded, old school,
Former head coach.
hard-nosed, former head coach, he was really brought in by by Ron Rivera to be like a second head coach. That is what he is. That's the role he's performing on this staff. My understanding, especially through Ron Rivera's cancer issues last year, Jack Del Rio has been performing that role. I like it. I think you got to have a guy like that. My question to you guys is about his defense.
I just can't for the life of me figure it out. So I wish I could sit here and say something to everyone that would make any damn sense. But every week I watch and I'm like, what? Why? Just why? And I understand how this NFL works. You're supposed to feel this way as a fan.
Sure.
Especially as a fan of defense, because the NFL's not really marketing how great the defense is, and the rules aren't really for the defense. Del Rio's done a great job in the modern era, and if you look at his stats and his resume as a D coordinator, and when he was the head coach, his defenses have always performed. This is a bit of an anomaly.
Yeah.
And
It is an anomaly.
Offense, I think, for Kevin and I,
he stinks right now.
I think I can speak for you. It's a little easier for us to see an offense and be able to say, that's
very
clicking,
fair.
that's
Very
not.
fair.
I don't have that feel for defense, but I have to believe, also with the comments that Ron Rivera had this past week on Chase, just little things like he's not doing that he was doing that he's not doing now, and they're like bad habits. I got to believe, and I didn't want to believe this 4 weeks ago, but I believe now, I just think it's execution. A lot of it is execution. A lot of it is everyone executing defensively together so that, St. Just is in a better position to make plays, that Jackson is in a better position to make plays. It's not always his fault. It's not always he's just bad on that play. They didn't get the pressure. He had to stick with his man for an extra, 1.7 seconds. I mean, that's what they were talking about when they break things down at this level. I just think it's and again, we doubted him at this point last year. This year's not going to turn out the way we want it to, or we wanted it to, or we expected or hoped it would. But I still think that there's a lot. It's not burning the bridges time. It's not.
No.
So let me ask you guys this.
Burn
Well, let
everything
me say
down and
this real
rebuild
quick.
it all.
Go ahead. About Chase. If you're going to ask about Chase, I want to talk
I don't.
about
It's
Chase.
not about
It is all
Chase. This is about
correctable.
Jack Del Rio still.
It's
I
not-
know, but
it's
I
not
want
a
to
Jack
talk
Del Rio
about this
problem.
real quick. Let
It's
me
not
just say
Jack-
one thing.
It's not a Jack Del Rio problem, I don't think.
I just want to say one thing. When T said this about Chase Young, the reason that the conversation blah blah on the defense, and I think it's specific to everyone on the defense. On defense, 11 guys are supposed to do their job. And when a guy starts feeling the pain of losing and starts seeing how they're getting gashed, and a guy like Chase Young, he's going to turn around. He's going to try and do everybody's job. What we need Chase Young to do is be Chase Young and do Chase Young's job. Not try and make up for this or try and do that or overextend himself here. And other guys start seeing that and start feeling that. And then all of a sudden it becomes that like, and now they keep saying, like, we're that close. And then the fans keep laughing. And I understand that guys like Jack Del Rio and Ron Rivera know way more than we do. And if they say we're that close or blah, blah, now this is weeks ago. I'm not saying we've gotten there. I feel like certain guys are trying too much. Other guys might not be great fits. Landon Collins is what we're talking about, and possibly William Jackson, who I think has been just fine. Then the rookies come in, all of a sudden everyone's trying to reach out and do everyone else's damn job to make up for shit, and everyone needs to do their own crap. And that's one thing I do understand about defense. My dad has taught it his whole entire life, and he always says one thing: do your job. No one else's. Right. If you do your job, and here's what your job is, specifically, you do this, and that's where execution comes in. NFL is a whole different animal than the high school game. I get that. I'm not comparing them. It just feels to me like Chase Young is trying to do everyone's job all at once to make up for all of this because he feels the pressure of being this star, of being this guy, because he's wearing it on his shoulders, mind you. When we're not doing well, everyone's pointing the finger at Del Rio and Chase Young, correct?
Yes. If you guys are Marty Herney, Martin Mayhew, Jason Wright, and you have three choices. Comeback status quo, Scott Turner, Jack Del Rio, coordinators, and obviously Ron Rivera is the leader of the brain trust on this one. Option 1, keep Jack Del Rio and Scott Turner. Option 2, keep Scott Turner and not Jack Del Rio. Option 3, keep Jack Del Rio and not Scott Turner. Of those three options, what are you picking? And again, we're talking about week 9. I get it. Like, we're halfway through. This is
I want everything the same.
Yeah.
Keep it the same? Okay. See, I think that's a good
Absent
thing.
any sort of,
Character issue.
well, no, but also, the pressure scapegoat scenario. Like if things just get really ridiculously bad, somebody's probably going to have to go for the betterment of
Do you know the last
fan
time
engagement?
Last time we had 3 years
and morale
of offensive coordinator, defensive coordinator, head coach? The last time we had 3 years in a row
Oh God.
of those three
Jay
positions.
Gruden's final
Have we
3
had
years.
a head coach for longer than that?
I think it was might have been George Allen. Might have been Turk Edwards. Days
The
of
Turk?
1947.
The Turk?
I think it was Turk Edwards, 1942.
Joe Gibbs didn't have any consecutive seasons.
Oh, of course he did.
I mean,
Of
come
course
on,
he
Turk.
did. Of course he did. Joe Gibbs, Richie Pettibone, and Joe Bugle were absolutely together for more than 3 straight seasons. That is the last time, I believe. I don't even think North Turner was able to retain a DC and an OC for 3 straight seasons. Only other one that really would have had a chance to have done so.
You guys remember Joe Barry when he was here, right?
Of course, we
We
remember
just played
Joe
against
Barry.
him 2 weeks ago. He wears the fresh Jordans.
Do you remember
man.
how bad it was
Yeah.
when he was here?
Of course.
It-
I
it-
remember
it-
that about a lot of
it
guys.
Felt it was like
It feels
It's not
like,
that.
No, it's not.
it's not that.
It's not
That's-
that.
It's not that.
We should put that on a T-shirt. Rhett, new T-shirt. It's not that.
You like
Hey,
that?
it's not that. It's not that.
It's not that.
You think it's bad?
All
It's not
of
that.
this-
Fire that guy.
It's a great T-shirt.
Everybody on the board, everybody who is a fan has the right to be pissed, has the right to be.
Of course. Oh, you did it
Really
again.
frustrated.
You need help? You got it. You got it. No,
Well, he works on this. I'll keep going here. Well, if we had to zoom in and just come here, look, it's not as bad as it seems, though. It's not what we've dealt with in the past. I think that there's a lot of
big crew.
great pieces being put in place. There still needs to be more, but it's all being done right.
This is
It's
like
not,
Jack Del Rio on Twitter.
it's not happening when we want it to, but it's all right. It just feels right.
No, this part has to go to this part. The male has to go to the female. I don't know much about electricity, but
Oh, really? We'll hold that down.
I'm just gonna hold this. How about this?
Hold this
You
down
know,
like this. Hold this down like this.
no, there's no reason to fix this right now. I'll just hold this right here.
You're gonna hold it?
Everything's gonna be fine.
I love it.
I
Where's
feel
our-
like
give it a
And then
like
we're right
for our
back here.
team.
this
And then
podcast
we're right
is
back
just as
here.
broken as our defense is right now. But you know what? When you guys aren't looking, I'm
To be
gonna
fair,
get
you
better.
unscrewed the microphone while you were during in mid show.
I screwed myself. It's
Yeah,
true.
I mean, I take a lot of credit for everything bad, but I get video evidence of you just like.
No, I didn't unscrew it. I just kept grabbing it.
Okay.
But it was.
And what did your mom always tell you?
Please don't bring my mom into this.
Stop grabbing.
Please don't bring my mom into this.
Let's transition. Let's transition to this coming week. Now, the cool thing about this upcoming matchup against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers is Taylor Heineke, the last time he played them, gave them the only game that they saw in the NFL postseason. The only game they saw. And by the way, in case you're wondering, it's the exact same Tampa Bay team, down to like the ball boy. They re-signed everybody. They brought everyone back. It's the
Only
exact
team in
same
NFL history
It's
to
amazing.
win a Super Bowl and have the same starting offense and defense return.
Smartest thing ever. And here we are. We're like, oh, you know what we need to do? We need to put this 2-6 team back together for another year. Keep it all the same. But we do want to keep it all the same. You got it. You got
I
it.
had it.
Oh,
Just don't worry. Don't focus on me.
I'm focusing. I'm
You
totally
focus on
focusing
stuff,
on
you
you.
ADD.
black
I am. Hey, by the way, what number is Trevor
Turn the black
Keels?
part. Turn the black part.
1.
No. Okay, 1-1. No. Okay.
Turn the black
Top
part.
wise. Turn it top wise.
You turn the top
We
lights.
have
You know how to
got-
do it. Bang.
A chance against Tampa Bay because
Turn it the other way.
here's why.
Other way.
They're not invincible. They're not indestructible. They're damn good, is what they are. And they are proving, I think what we're seeing at this point in time in the NFL is that in week 8, week 9, week 10, where we are right now is a spot where teams that you think are invincible
There you go.
are getting tripped up by 22 guys.
On our bye week.
22
The
guys.
biggest upsets of the season. Everyone's like, everyone's getting upset this
Denver
week.
brought 22 guys to Dallas. 22 guys. And they're like, you know what? Here's our 22 guys, and we're going to beat the crap out of you. And they just did it. Now, I think that the Denver-Dallas matchup is instructional for us coming into this week. Here's what's bad. Tampa Bay's coming off a loss. That sucks.
And a bye.
And a bye. Also pretty terrible.
Tom
And
Brady.
it's at FedEx. Not a great place for us to play football
So
games.
sad.
This list can keep going, but let's not focus on that. Here's what I am focused on: the Tampa Bay Buccaneers are the Goliath that everyone in the world is going to say should absolutely beat the crap out of this Washington football team. But if you look at it, what Taylor Heineke does well is what Tampa Bay does not do well on defense. Tampa Bay has a bunch of old dogs that are exceptional at playing defense. But where Taylor Heineke excels is outside of that perfect bubble of execution. They might take away our number one option in the first second. They might take away our number two option in the second. But what they couldn't do against us, and what Taylor Heineke does against all these teams that are too good. What am I trying to say? The better you are, the better you are at stopping the good of the league. But you can't account for like that one time little giant style. When Taylor Heineke all of a sudden breaks away and runs around the end. They have been tripped up by that all season long. Go back and watch all the Tampa Bay Buccaneers games. Where have they suffered? They've suffered when a quarterback breaks free, when a running back breaks a couple tackles, and all hell breaks loose. They've suffered around the fringes. That's where we live. We live around the fringes. That's the only thing I can think of that gives us a chance in this game.
Well, I appreciate your fringe-worthy conversation, but I'm going to say this. The Saints beat
I
them
was trying
for
to
this.
cover you while you screwed that.
You were, I know, and I gave you some distractions, and I'm coming back at you with this.
Come back.
11 penalties for 99 yards on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. New Orleans had 2 for 10. 3 turnovers to New Orleans 0. And New Orleans had a defensive touchdown on one of those turnovers. And Tom Brady, he threw for his 375, and he had his 4 teeters. But at the end, 2 picks, 1 went to the house, and it was in a bit of a let's come back and win this time. But 152 yards rushing. Kamara only had, 15 yards receiving against these guys. They effectively ran the ball and controlled the game. At the end, after Tom Brady kind of yarded the crap out of them, it's just about hanging in there, and figuring it out at the end. And that's what this team did. They controlled the ball offensively at the end. Alvin Kamara is a bad dude. You'd think he'd kill you in the passing game like we've watched forever. No, man, 152 rushing yards. They had double the rushing yards of Tampa Bay, who had double the passing yards of them almost.
Yep.
You got to be able to run the ball a little bit. We're okay at it. We're in big, huge trouble, guys. There's just not a lot to me.
We're in big, huge trouble.
And I know that Ken is one of the greatest turd scrubbers of all time.
I appreciate you, man.
The polish, wax, shine up the hood. You've got the whole thing. And you actually deliver the turd right back. You don't even have someone come pick it up. You self-deliver it.
Here's that turd.
And the Brady family is like, this is the 14th time we've had to tell you, Mr. Maricolo, we don't want that turd. We don't care how long you've been scrubbing it. That's not the. It's just it's a done deal. We focus on getting better. We hope for the
Montez
best.
Sweat.
You're the guy that like as the
not
comment
happening.
comment is coming straight at Earth. It's like it's not that bad, guys.
It's not that bad. It's not that. It's not that bad. It could be worse.
It's only going to get beneath the equator.
Everybody
from,
needs
from what
you.
I see from here.
Everybody needs one of you
Should be fine.
in the corner.
Yeah.
You know. I'm not there yet.
They don't- they
Australia's
can't.
in trouble, but we should be fine.
Like, here's the thing. Like, you can't account for
We still
like,
have time, guys.
a random 90-yard touchdown pass to Dax Milne, or a Jarrett Patterson scamper for 46 yards.
You're
Like,
right.
Hey,
You know what I
they're-
mean? Like,
You're
The
right.
league-
That is in our favor. But
Yeah.
unfortunately, in order for that to work in our favor for a win, Heineke and everybody else has to play a near flawless game, up to a point where that would be a deciding factor in a win or loss in this game.
And why does it
We're
go
just
with
not gonna
Dax
be there.
Milne?
It's
Like,
not gonna be
why
there.
Dax Milne?
Why not?
Just like a random,
Why
just
not?
a random guy who's going to come off the bench that the DC is like, okay, Johnny, you cover him this play, and everyone else, but they only keep like half an eye on him, and the next thing you know, he's running down the field.
Old Johnny.
Oh, I mean, yeah, watch out for Johnny. I mean, he's going to cheat in.
Well, if Johnny's guarding Dax Milne, then we've got a prayer.
We're in this.
Because Johnny used to work on the docks, I believe. Union went on strike.
You went on strike.
All right, so
and,
here's
Johnny-
our chance, Ken.
Yep.
You just uncovered it. And, this is not the Philadelphia Soul. This is legit NFL
No.
business. This is no Bon Jovi.
I have it on good authority that Johnny will be covering Dax Milne. on
Yes.
Sunday.
we're halfway there. I mean, Jesus Christ.
Thank you. I don't know how many more times I can set you up. But
God bless you,
trying.
Ken.
I'll keep trying.
Hey, what
It's guys like you that are like the glue that keeps the rest of everybody else together.
I appreciate it. I appreciate
I don't know
it.
how I got to be a part of this, but thank
it's
you.
a tough role, but you fill it.
I will be.
Remarkable.
We'll all be
I'm
watching.
the assistant turd polisher.
Though. We'll all be
That's a
watching.
great role
There's no
for
way
me.
we're not watching this game.
Because he's a pro.
And here's the thing. I don't think we're getting blown out by Tampa Bay. And here's the reason why for that. Because if you look at what Tampa Bay's done so well this year, Leonard Fournette, who I love. I loved him coming out of college. I loved him in Jacksonville. He is an exceptional player. We are good against the run. They will throw to him, but he's not J.D. McKissick. I mean, he can get yards. Tom Brady can utilize him. He can utilize everybody.
They've got so many weapons.
I do understand that, but they are going to have to pass.
Fournette's like
They're going to have to pass.
Fournette's
for
like
them,
the bayonet of their armory.
we're going to stop Fournette. We're going to stop
We better
Fournette.
stop Fournette, not the guy with the rifle. If we get in close contact,
who's
you never
pissed
know.
off.
Right.
I'll tell you the biggest.
Fournette's like the pepper spray of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
You are right about one other thing, though. In your rose-colored world here, is I don't think they're gonna get blown out.
No,
No
they're not gonna
one
get
should
blown
get
out.
blown out in the NFL.
I agree.
Ever, and we've already had one.
10 and a half
To
is
have
the
two
spread.
would be a kiss of death.
Yes.
All right. 10 is the spread. You have to cut one toenail off if you're wrong. One toe. One toe
One
has to
toe?
go. One toe has to go. This is it. 10's the spread. One toe if you're wrong.
I'd actually be totally fine without a toe. So yeah, let's do
That's true, dude.
Yeah.
Can you like?
No, he would not
I
be
actually yeah.
fine without a toe. You have a
Yes, he would.
family
I've
that
actually
loves
been,
you.
I've been thinking about getting rid of my right pinky toe. To be honest with you, this is a true story.
Well, wait. So then in that case, which way are you going? Over or under?
What,
This question.
10? Are the
this
Redskins
question-
covering 10 or
This
not?
question now sucks.
I think they cover 10.
I got
Bullshit,
nothing to
they
lose.
cover 10, and I'm the
Oh.
worst gambler on the Eastern Seaboard. That's why I
What's the
don't do it.
bet? What are we doing here?
10.
10-point spread.
No toes. Fine.
Score predictions from the board.
Over.
Bring them in.
Fine.
Pull them in now.
Fine.
They-
The hook is not the toenail. It's the just regular.
They win by 2 touchdowns.
No.
10 points is the spread. You're taking the Bucks. You're taking the
Oh,
football team.
of course. I actually think this is going to be a last possession game. I think.
And of
think
course
about
it's going to be. And
Yeah.
nothing would shock me
And I
about
hope
that.
you're right.
the most likely outcome
you're right.
in a
Is
game
that
like
we
this
lose by 9.
is and has been for years. For years, the most likely outcome. This is the most likely outcome of the game. That we take the lead with 1 minute and 58 seconds to go in the game. And you give Tom Brady the ball back with a chance to drive for a field goal or a score. That has happened to us. Again, I'm sure all NFL fans think this exact same way, but we have our share of losses over the last 10 plus years, and that's how they've come. We get into a fist fight with a bigger kid, and their kid comes out in the final minute and a half with the ability to put their team in field goal position. And how do we lose the game? Starts with a K, rhymes with a Snickers.
Can I just raise my hand and say one thing?
Yeah.
I told you what our red zone scenario was.
Yes.
That's the greatest red zone quarterback in the history of the sport.
Ever.
And he's coming to Landover. Do you think Giselle makes it to Landover? Anyone? What's that over under?
No
Because my
chance.
answer is no.
No way.
Because Tom would be like, don't you
I think-
ever go to Landover.
Don't go to that field.
No, but she might come to D.C. She just ain't making
The only
it to
one that
Landover.
cares is Romo. So
Well, I know this. The greatest red zone
he
quarterback.
calling the game? Is it
in
on
the
CBS?
history- I mean, like, Mike Evans exists on 1-yard touchdown passes. Like, his agent's like, thank God your quarterback's the greatest red zone quarterback of all time because we're going up against the worst red zone franchise of 2021. And that's a fact, man.
Who's calling
So,
the
yeah,
game?
that's bad.
so I'm
That's
going.
usually
So I'm
not
going
good.
Tampa Bay.
Yeah.
Minus the points. What do we got?
I'm trying to see who's calling this game on.
Hopefully it's Giselle and
Definitely
like a
not
couple of
Romo.
her girlfriends.
It's on Fox. They're not going to stick Tom Brady with like the newbie.
And I don't mean like the full call, like the Manning brothers call on the side. And you know what I
Yeah.
love? Eli is getting a hard time for the double finger barrel roll. He went
Eli's
double.
made a few.
He went double
mistakes.
bird. I know, but
I
it's
got no problem
amazing
with
that.
that.
I know it's amazing that he's going down. Of all people, I thought would ever get criticized for just the double bird. Eli would be, I don't know, 99th percentile of not doing it. I don't know. I appreciate that. I was trying to get away
He's
from.
wi-
But
he-
if you-
he's
did
winning
you
on
see
me.
it?
He's winning me.
It
over.
wasn't. It wasn't like he was being.
You got to throw double bird sometimes.
He was doing it Eli style.
I know.
It should have been okay.
I-
In fact, I thought it was okay.
I thought it was very okay. In fact, it always makes me chuckle when a guy you don't think is going to drop a double bird, just double birds you on national television. Like, that's the reason to watch. But
Thank you, Greg. Adam Amon and Mark Skureth, not the worst team.
Sure.
I'm okay with that. Skureth is
Stink.
awful. Greg, I understand why you say that. He's definitely not one of their top 2 or 3 teams, but he's been
Bro,
around a long time.
Stink dressed up on Halloween and made a fool of himself.
I'm
It
okay
was
with
terrible.
him. I'm okay with him. Only in light of, I mean, I'd rather have him than Sanchez.
He's over analytical
enough. Yeah.
and at times entertaining.
I don't think he's good.
He's
I'm
over analytical.
I don't think he's terrible.
There's
tries-
a lot of bad. There's
he
a lot
tries
of bad
too
out
hard
there.
to show how smart he is.
There's a lot of bad. He's
Yeah.
just there, and you know what? I respect him. He's got a Super Bowl ring. You know.
Yes,
Saying. He's
and
all
I
right.
liked him as a player.
No, he's all right. He's all right. I don't know. At this point, like it could be a lot worse.
We know
It's
a lot
always
worse.
worse.
Yeah, so I will at least put the volume on for this one.
Exactly. This is feasible. This is
Yeah, I can
it's
live
not
with
going to
this.
ruin my Sunday.
It's not his
No.
first time.
It's not going to ruin your Sunday.
No.
He
Another
doesn't.
T-shirt.
He doesn't.
Red,
own-
another
he doesn't-
T-shirt.
he
Not
doesn't
going to ruin
own-
our Sunday.
He doesn't own a small dog.
I'm not going to sweat much for a fat
Does he have-
guy
does
on
he-
Sunday.
and he doesn't wear scarves. I don't think he's too big of a guy. Linemen don't wear scarves, or whatever you call those.
Yeah,
What do you call
ascots.
those? Ascots. Thank you. I
Yes,
know.
you're right.
You
You're
know
welcome.
that. All right, we're gonna come back in 1 week. I like
I actually wore an ascot on Halloween.
this past Halloween
Yeah.
for warmth.
You didn't see any of the pictures?
Scooby Dooby
No,
Doo.
I don't go to those
Who wears
websites.
an ascot in Scooby Doo? Fred. bro.
Fred.
I had a whole mystery machine. I'll show you pictures.
Oh, you were
afterwards.
Fred.
Yeah.
Yes.
I love
Yeah.
it. Okay,
Shout
I
out
got
to
no problem
Shaggy.
with that. Shout out to Shaggy.
Mrs. Leslie Strachan dominated as Shaggy. The Mystery Machine was all around this wheelchair. And
love
there are some characters in that,
we
in
went-
that Mystery
we went
Machine.
full
Dude.
bore.
The Strachan family went all out.
Jinky.
Jinkies.
Jinkies.
Like I did. I said
She was there.
I had girl dad stuff.
Velma
to do.
was in the back.
I had
Listen,
to-
man,
I
you
had
guys
to- I
crushed
had to
it.
Go full
I
costume.
love it. I love it. I'd like to think that we'll have something to talk about that was improved week over 8 weeks. I know I've said it like twice just as a throw-in, but losing Montez Sweat is gigantic.
It sucks.
Mostly because we are playing a statue at quarterback, and the whole reason why we were in that game is because we made him move, and
Yes.
he's not a mover.
No, it stinks.
Yeah, so I don't know. We got to figure out how to make him move on Sunday. That's like, there's no like way to beat Tom Brady, but the way to have a chance to beat Tom Brady is you have to make him sweat, and you got to make him move. And if you don't do that, you have zero chance. At least you have a chance if you make
Did
him move.
Giselle teach you that?
Giselle taught me that.
Sounded like it.
It's a lot of.
You gotta make him sweat. You gotta make him move. Then you can beat him.
Yeah. I love
No,
it.
no. You gotta rush 4 and get pressure. Right? Strahan taught us that.
Yes, you. Yeah, that's correct. All right. Well, we'll have the whole, kid out to cut off T's pinky next week. Obviously, that's happening apparently.
I think it needs to go anyway.
It needs to go. It's going to happen live.
Kill two with one.
Totally.
Two birds, one
Two
stone.
birds.
I mean, it's completely
One
the
T-bird, two
most
birds.
unnecessary
One less toe.
part of my whole body.
Oh, shit.
We're so very
Shucks.
thankful that you
Sorry.
hung out with us on a Tuesday night. We appreciate it. Listen, we missed a week. That's just the way it was. But we didn't miss a week together. Just for everyone out there, I know folks catch us. Listen, we have the awesome opportunity to call the best high school sports, we think, in the country. We do it on the weekends. Last week we had a Friday night game, which is part of the reason why we weren't here last Tuesday night because of that. We have a game on Saturday, the oldest private Catholic school rivalry in the country. 100 years, guys, 100 years, and they're both top programs in the nation. This isn't like a couple schools that just been playing each other for a long time that aren't good. They're great.
Caleb Williams, setting the world on fire. Tyree Johnson, the SEC Defensive Lineman of the Week for the third time. Like, there's dudes out there right now from this kind. Dean Ingram starting at Wisconsin.
Dean
We
Ingram
got cats everywhere, man.
You watch this game.
Rakim Jarrett at Maryland. This
on
is
Saturday,
nuts, man.
Watch the game on
rivalry's
Saturday
nuts.
if you have a chance on this very channel. We'll be offering that game for free. St. John's versus Gonzaga. I promise you that at least one player in that game will make it to Sundays. I promise.
There's
you.
five.
Just to be
I
clear,
know.
The same
I'm
same
just promising one. I'm
same
just promising
conference-
one.
Yeah.
Same conference Chase Young and
Same-
Kevin Fuller are from.
Yeah,
Kendall Fuller,
wanted to
Stephon Diggs. Like,
you
what are
wanted
we
to keep it
talking
close
about?
to
We can
home.
go
Oh, yeah.
all day long.
These are not.
Rodney. We got everybody in the mix, man.
Terrell
We
Lewis.
can go all day long.
Mustapher.
Oh, yeah. Gronk is injured because of Terrell Lewis. I mean,
That's
it's
right.
just-
Terrell Lewis
St.
is-
John's.
I mean, sorry, man, but we hit at St. John's, and the toughest tight end in the history of the sport figured out why.
We'll be covering St. John's Gonzaga. It's a playoff game on Saturday afternoon. Check us out. Check in. See what it's all about. I know some folks on the board already do. We appreciate you guys doing so. Give us a subscription. Give us a like if you haven't already checked out yet. If you thought,
Give us $5 too.
well,
No.
I'll
Give
take
me
five.
$5.
Give Kevin $5.
I just want $5.
Pretty standard
No,
situation.
there's one of you. I just want one of you to give me $5.
Enjoy the second half of Duke, Kentucky. Looks like it's going to be a good second half. I know we will. Until next week, he's Tim Strachan.
Appreciate it, guys. Really do. Did miss everybody. Glad to be back, and let's just hope that Ken's right.
He's Kevin Ricker.
Let's just hope Pam Oliver's in town this week because, it's always fun on Saturday when she's in town.
That is correct.
Yeah.
That is a fact. E.O. Anderson knows
You'll have to
that.
explain that to me after the show.
No, that's going to be a green room conversation. No, I'm just saying it's a fact. Yeah,
that is factual.
Yeah. Okay.
So, Saturday, high school football. Sunday, Redskins football. Tuesday, thank God it's Tuesday. We have all kinds of cool announcements to tell you. We'll be back the following week. We want to make sure you understand with a championship game from the greatest high school football conference in the land. That's a fact. And we will have that for you guys on this channel. In fact, we'll have two of them on this channel. We will very much appreciate your time then, and we appreciate your time now. Can't wait to be back with you guys on another Tuesday night in perpetuity. This was Thank God It's Tuesday. I'm Ken Marangolo. We are still live, EO.
What is Rhett?
Yeah, Greg.
Asleep?
Basketball game is at halftime. No, Rhett's not asleep, dude. He's just chilling.
You're sleeping on your job, Rhett.
Is that a West Coast game? Where is it?
Isn't it Rhett's job to turn it off?
No, it's at the Garden, man.
I thought that's why
This is
he's
East
here.
Coast.